Well, the very first thing I had to do was figure out who I could trust. I didn't know people in the department. It was a big department, had almost 27,000 people, and I arrived. I did know that the secretary of the department, the one that had just been fired, was under scrutiny, and I also knew that he had cohorts working with him. And who they were and what they might be up to, I didn't know. So the very first thing I felt I had to focus on was, who do you turn to get advice on the department, and can you trust that person? So that very much was a personality read, and then instantly trying to check their integrity out. Did they speak straightforwardly? Did they tell me the truth as they knew it? If they didn't know, did they let me know they didn't know and go and find out? Could I trust them? And then, of course, based on my past experiences, which, as I've tried to describe, were far-flung in different environments around the world with some pretty tough cookies, I was able to sort of check them out based on the way they would act under various crises events and non-crises as well. So the very first thing was finding out who to trust. The second thing was, of course, you've got this public safety issue. I had no idea the state of the inmates, for example, the prisons. Were they stable? Were they not stable? Who was corrupt in the prisons? Who was not? Was there a risk to the public safety? With my very first meeting with the staff, the senior staff, at the end of the meeting, the deputy secretary of the department received a phone call that there had been 2 inmates escaped from a prison. Now, 3 days later, 4 days later, we actually found them hiding inside the prison. But at the moment, it sounded to me like we'd had 2 men escape. And my question, which I posed immediately, does this happen often? And the answer was, it never happened. So if you put yourself in my shoes in the first hours of the first day, trying to figure out what's secure and what's not, the indications I'm getting are one of 2 things. Either we have major problems inside the prisons, or this is a sign of rebellion from inside the prison. I mean, that is a thought that occurred to me. Turned out it was not, thank goodness. It also turned out that that enough strong leaders were in place that the inmate control measures were in pretty good shape. Now, the other side of the house was the probation side of the house. A lot of them, there were about 155,000 or so. I remember on one of my very first briefings, I asked how many people under probation and parole supervision, and I got a figure of over 190,000. And I said something like, wow, that's a lot of people. And the response to that was really intriguing. It was, well, it's not as bad as it sounds. And I said, what do you mean? And I was told, well, 40,000 of them have absconded. Actually, the number was 44,000. Well, from my point of view, that was not a good thing, that we suddenly had fewer to supervise, that we'd better go figure out where they've absconded to and try to find them. By the way, we've been able to bring that down over 20% in 1 year. But getting into the idea of public safety was right up there at the top of the priorities I had to get to. And then you had to go into systems. And again, you're back to who do you trust? I mean, is the IG system working? Is the legal system working? Is the grievance system working? Is the maintenance system working? Is construction working? All the systems that allow you to run an agency this large, over $2 billion of budget, 27,000 employees, at that time something like 88,000 inmates, and as I've said, 150+ thousand on probation. Getting your arms around all the systems that are needed to make them run properly while keeping the public safety was right up there as well.